I've had time to get some painting done on the Adler. It's been curing for a couple of days, so I started putting a lot of the parts on, cleaning, polishing them, putting them back on. But what I want to talk about right now is the servo motor that I purchased for this. I've taken it out of the box, and this is a servo motor that has brushes. It's going to be a little wobbly because I'm switching the camera back and forth. Okay, it's going to come with, you'll see a bag back here, silver. That's the bolts that go through the table and the grommets that go into the bracket here to minimize vibration, which there's basically is almost none. These gold tone pieces here is how you mount the bracket onto the motor. And some of these come with this bracket already mounted on. For some reason this didn't have it mounted on there. And then one other thing I do is move over here a little bit. This one came with a 75mm pulley. You just loosen this nut here. There will be a keyed shaft. Pull this one off, and I get these online. This is a 50mm pulley, so I'm reducing the speed of the motor right away before I even put it on the machine. That gets it slow enough for me. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and take these pieces and put that bracket on and show you what that looks like when I get it on. Alright, I have the bracket on the motor. Very simple. It's just a pin in the back, the gold pieces, this bolt here that goes through with a few nuts on it. In the silver bag, you're going to find these components here. You get these grommets that you'll set on here. This is just going to bolt up on the bottom of the table. You get a safety guard. I never put those on. I'm running this machine so slow I don't need it. This linkage here. You're going to see a small bag. These are just extra brushes should you need them in the future. An extra brake pad and an extra fuse. And this is the hardware you're going to use to hook the motor to the table. And I'm getting some banding from the lights, but this is the motor that I usually buy. It's just a one-piece unit, very simple to install and use. And I did hear someone mention about come on now, get over there. Okay, this is already turned on. You don't hear anything. You won't hear anything until you engage the motor. This will go to the linkage to the foot pedal down below. Now the way these work is when it's in the up position, there is a brake. Right now it would be very hard to turn this pulley. But when you set this up, you want to have it so when your pedal's all the way down, the brake is on, in case you want to stop the sewing machine from sewing really quickly. And then when you push down just a little bit on the pedal, that gets you to a neutral position where this will turn. You can turn the hand wheel on the machine without it running. And then as you go down farther, you'll see the motor engages and then the pulley's turning. And that's the way it works. It doesn't matter if you have a servo motor or a clutch motor. Here's the motor mounted on one of my other machines. And over here, you're going to see this is a clutch motor mounted on just a straight stitch needle feed sewing machine that I have. And this uses the same basic principles. Let's see if I can get in here. When my foot is on the back side of the pedal, that's the brake. As I move it ahead a little bit, that should be neutral. So I can come up here and freely turn the hand wheel, no problem. And when I put that brake on, it's locked. And then when I go further, that will engage the motor and make the sewing machine run. For filming purposes, I just laid the table on its side. You'll slide the bolts through the tabletop. And then the next step, what I do is I push these rubber grommets on the bolt. That'll help hold the bolt in place. Then I can simply hold the motor up against there, get one bolt going, and that'll pretty much hold the motor there. I won't tighten these down yet because when I get the machine on the table, I want them tight enough that obviously the machine doesn't fall off, or the new motor doesn't fall off the table. But I'm going to, after I set the machine on, line up the pulleys and then tighten the motor down. And if we just come back over here to my other machine, still learning how to work this video thing here. You can see that when you put your switch on and run your wires, make sure you stay away from the belt area so you don't end up cutting your wires with your belt. I almost forgot to mention this motor does come with a 110 plug-in on the back for your LED light, which is kind of handy, keeps you from having too many cords run around the machine. I have the linkage installed from the servo motor to the foot pedal. Very simple, just insert a couple of bolts. These, I just finger tighten these also so they won't fall off. And it comes with these clips for your wires to mount to the bottom of the table. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and then I'm going to position where I want my switch on the right hand side of the table. Alright, I have the switch screwed to the bottom side of the table. Be careful when you run the screws. That housing is plastic, you don't want to crack that. And I used the little cable holders there, nailed those to the bottom. The cords will slide in those, so what I do is I go ahead and I see if I can show this here. I just add a zip tie right here. I pull the wires tight and add a zip tie so it'll hit that cable. The cable will hit that holder, and I can see before I flip the machine back over, I can already see that I don't know if you can see it here, the motor needs to move to the left. It doesn't line up with where the belt's going to go, so I'm going to just loosen the nuts on those bolts, slide it over to the left, and then I'll flip it over. Well, the motor is installed. I've got the linkage hooked up. Make sure the motor's secure before you flip the table over. When you adjust it's important that you adjust your foot pedal position, the angle, and the location to your liking. I won't do that until I get the machine on here, but every machine that I have, here you can see the pulley. Every machine that I have, I adjust that, because if you're going to be sitting there a lot, you want to be comfortable. And I just quickly want to show you, this is a one-piece assembly on this motor design. They also make this style, which I'm using on my test bed that I created. It's where you have a different component, this control component, instead of just a simple switch, and then a separate motor. And this controller was mounted to the motor. I just removed it to create a foot pedal, because that way I can bring any industrial machine in to work on it. I just set it on this piece of plywood, and it's so heavy that it's not going to move, and then I just tip it back, quickly hook a V-belt up to this motor, turn this on, I have my foot pedal, and I can go ahead and work on the machine and test run it as much as I want. And I can go switch from one machine to another in about 2 minutes. And it takes me a minute and a half to just carry the machine in the house. So I think that's it for this video. On the next video, I'm going to set the machine in this table. I'm not going to get it all lined up, but I'm going to try to do a quick video on the drop down edge guide that I purchased. All right, thanks for watching.